Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. How are you guys? Okay, so I've been given 10 minutes and I'm not taking more than 10 slides. The first 5 slides are actually more informative and the next 5 are very simple. Okay, so I'd like to talk about smartphone sensors for potential applications. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share some ideas, and those are not my ideas, obviously. I have gathered from the literature. So I'd like to actually give you some ideas to think about, to ponder about for potential more ideas to how you're going to utilize these sensors that are embedded inside your smartphone. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so let's take a look. What are the sensors that we have inside our phone, smartphone today's? Okay, so obviously we know many of them, but we don't use all of them in our day-to-day life use. Okay, so first of all, this is an Google I/O event where I'm not supposed to be there. I'm actually kind of alien in this event. You know why? I'm from electrical engineering background, and I am not an app developer, and I'm not a web developer. And the last time I have coded, actually back in 2005 or 6, 12 years ago. That is when during my undergrads. Okay, but still I would like to talk about this sensor so that you can utilize the sensor to make potential apps for our society, for our country, and for our own use. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this is the overview of all the sensors that are embedded inside a smartphone. How many of you are familiar with, for example, the light sensor, ambient light sensor? How many of you are familiar with this light sensor? When do you use it? Sorry? Yes, auto brightness, exactly. Okay, so for example, how many of you are familiar with this accelerometer and gyroscope? Do you know when we are going to use accelerometer? So you can rotate your screen, right? Auto rotate option, tilt your screen, so you are actually using the accelerometer. Sometimes if you don't want to take blurry photos because your hand shakes and your phone shakes because of slight rotation, your gyroscope actually can save you from taking such kind of blurry photos. Okay, so obviously there are other sensors embedded. So we're going to talk about a few of these and the potential application of these things. Okay, so accelerometer is a sensor, is an MEMS device, MEMS device, that's micro electromechanical system, which actually measures the flight's motions in your in terms of acceleration and in all 3 axes. So you have your x-axis, y-axis, and vertical z-axis. So in all 3 dimensions, it is going to give you the acceleration. When it is happening, when there is any slight motion or slight force applied on your smartphone. Okay. So similarly, gyroscope, which can actually measure the rotational motion in this way in all 3 axes as well. So we are going to see how you can utilize this sensor for making potential applications. Okay, so in healthcare and medical applications. So now let's see this kind of graph. So this is an accelerometer data. So you have 3 axes, X, Y, Z, and the resultant data is this one. So so you can consider a 3D vector. You have X, Y, and Z axis, and you can make a resultant vector R. That is this one. And this accelerometer data has been recorded by placing a smartphone on the chest of a 15-year-old subject. Okay, so this is what you actually see is kind of a cardiac activity. So you can monitor your cardiac activity through accelerometer. So this is amazing. You are not using any extra sensor. You're using your phone sensor, and you can actually do this. So, sorry about that. So this is a real data that has been collected by one of my students with his cousin. Okay, so you can see that you can easily detect heartbeat. Beats per minute is 75, which means the subject is fine. Okay. Another data I would like to show you is also an accelerometer data during walking. So the subject is walking, and this is the left side data is from a healthy subject, the right side data is from a patient suffering from Parkinson's disease. Okay, so this is a Parkinson's disease, a neurological disorder, and that can be actually traced while walking. So what happens, people try to understand what is the effect of the dose applied for Parkinson's disease patients. So when they are walking, so they want to see whether there is any mood tremor or not. So whether it's improving or not. The dose is whether you have to settle the dose or not. So this can be done by taking a accelerometer data from the patient as well, by comparing with the healthy subject data. So another thing, accelerometer obviously can measure the acceleration. Therefore, it can be detected for fall detection purpose. It can be used. For example, you have elderly people or patients suffering from epilepsy, sudden seizure attack happening. So you can actually measure this kind of fall, and you can, and based on that, you can develop an app so that you can inform the caregivers or family persons nearby. There is an app known as mPhysio. It's already developed to provide rehabilitation services. So what happens? People requiring physiotherapy or something like that, they usually go to the therapy center to the therapist and take all these rehabilitation services. But it's possible that you can do the exercise in your home, and your accelerometer can actually trace your exercise data, and then it can send back to the therapist so that the therapist can essentially tell you, okay, you are doing fine, or you have to improve something like that. So these are some of the examples in healthcare and medical application. And obviously, with the smartphone, with all the IoT sensors integrated together, you can obviously, with all the communication sensors, you can do a lot of things. But these are why I have actually focused on accelerometer, because this is a thing that we know very less. So obviously, there are other sensors that we can always make use of. Okay, so in agriculture even, as our previous dancer, previous speaker, our dancer mentioned that you can actually take a photo of plant leaves and you can measure whether the leaf has a disease, particular disease or not, whether there is a disease or not, and then you can actually go on what kind of disease the leaf has. Okay, so this kind of an idea. Again, you can calculate the amount of fertilizer required based on your color estimation. So, when I'm talking about color estimation, that means you have to use your mobile phone camera to, take the images, and then you apply some machine learning or signal processing algorithm through your phone by developing the app to actually estimate that what amount of fertilizer is required or not, something like this. You can also study the soil with the help of your images taken from your mobile camera. You can, do this analysis, crop produce readiness analysis, and all these things as well. Okay, next is driver safety monitoring system. Okay, so you can actually measure the driver fatigueness through your mobile phone. So this is a proposed thing that is available online in one of the literature that is. So you can see that the driver, when driving, you can place the phone in front of the driver, and you can use the camera, mobile phone camera, to actually detect his eye as an eye tracker. You can detect his eyes and eyeball movement, so that you can actually detect whether the driver is in fatigue mode or not. If he is in drowsy mode or in fatigue mode, then you can actually give some alarm to make them alert. Okay, another thing again is in use of accelerometer data. Inside your car, you can actually detect a car accident if there is any, through the accelerometer data. So okay, so you can go on to develop an app which can use the utilization of your accelerometer data to see if there is an accident or not. So obviously, accelerometer can detect any slight, acceleration or motions of your phone. But you have to make sure that whether there is really an accident or your phone just fall off from your hand. So there is always an, research opportunity for you or for the developers to make use of this kind of app by understanding how the sensors are working and how you can utilize of these sensors data. Another one, you can again make use of your accelerometer and gyroscope in women's safety. So these days, we all know that our women are not safe, and there have been many incidents in recent years, abusing and teasing and all this stuff in public places for women. So obviously, when the woman is in danger, she's alone. You cannot, obviously you cannot go and make a call to ask for help or write down message on your phone, because it will be easily noticed by the others. So you cannot do that in that case. So what you can do, you can actually make some signaling like this, with your phone, make something like this, shake off your phone, and then it can, for example, it is possible that it can activate the microphone so that whenever she's talking and this voice is being sent to the caregiver, to the one that to the family member, someone like that. Or you can do that. What you can do, you can activate the GPS location, send the location of the woman at that moment immediately to an SMS. Okay, so it's possible. Also, there are other features that you can actually think of. So this is kind of an food for thought for all of you who are going to develop some app for mobile phones. Okay, so you can use this kind of features. In a simple accelerometer data, no one will actually identify whether she's actually informing her caregivers or family members or not. It's not possible to actually detect these things, but you can still make it. Okay, so other application, obviously, you have, if you go back to the first slides with all the sensors, so you have ambient light sensors, you have moisture sensor, humidity sensors, okay, moisture sensor, humidity sensor, temperature sensors. So with that, it's possible that you can actually monitor your environment, your ambient environment, and also based on that, you can do some certain works. It's up to you. What are the applications? So actually, I'm going to echo from our team, sir. So learning from society. So what you have to do, you have to look around you. Look around you, see what are the problems and challenges that we are facing by ourselves, okay? And then try to develop some app that will be useful for our own oneself first, and then we can go make for others, okay? So first of all, the idea is same. So learning from society, learning from around you, look around you. Do not go too far. Just look around you. You'll find there are a lot of problems, challenges, and essentially you would like to know that what are the resources that you have. Okay, so in our country we are having limited resources. What we'd like to do, we'd like to make the most use of it. That's the only way that we can actually survive. Okay, so if you do not know, if you have resources, if you do not know, then it is as if that you don't have resources. Okay, so that's the motivation of this talk, that please try to know your smartphone better. Okay, so all of you we are carrying a smartphone these days, and they have more or less like 10 sensors on average per phone, whether it's an Android and iOS, doesn't matter. So obviously you'll find how to use this kind of sensors in your Android developer group. There's a website for the developers, Android developers, app developers. So you can go find how to use this kind of sensors. So there are the functions utilizing accessing this kind of sensor is available in your app developer website. So please go and search and see if you can make use of them. Okay, so in one application, it not necessarily you're going to use only one sensor data. Maybe you have to combine 3 or 4, but it doesn't matter. Essentially, you need to know what are inside in your smartphone. Okay, that's the only way that you can go on to develop a newer and effective apps. Okay, so that's it for today. I would like to thank all of you for listening. Does anyone have any question? One, if not, and then thanks.
I would like to call Mehdi Hassan to hand over a little token of appreciation to Dr. Kafiul Islam.